work with like a younger artist or someone else in the studio to maybe to do things like fill in backgrounds or fill in blacks?
Yes,
is that something that
it's something I do quite a bit.
Okay,
someone you might know, Sean Murphy.
Oh, okay.
He was he lived in my house. We worked back to back for DC Comics, and he was inking me. And then when that Vertigo series fell through, I moved on. I was pretty much burnt. I don't know. I think I drew like Richard Dragon or some embarrassing DC book, and I was just done. I was mentally done. And I got offered Shaun of the Dead. So I took that and I went the indie route. And I got offered Batman Year One or something, and I said, hey, try Shaun. And that story speaks for itself. Shaun's, king of the turds now. So, I mean that endearingly. We're all just crappy comic book artists. So, yes, I do. Jolly and Yates right now, just because of how dense Wild Blue Yonder is, and I was unable to work for a month this summer, so I'm a little bit behind right now. I do have him ink some structural elements. But yeah, one of my favorite things to do is to help young artists. But it's a double-edged sword. I will give you my time, but you got to give me yours. You got to help yourself. And I'd say 9 times out of 10, they don't come through. However, the ones that do are working. I got Vic Mulholter just at Thumbprint with Joe Hill. I got him his job.
Oh, nice.
Jolly Yates, I got his. That's one of my all-time favorite things to do because I spent years not even knowing how to get. When I decided to be a comic book artist, I was a potter, I was a professional potter, getting a thesis in college, and I knew no one. I didn't know what you inked with. I didn't know how it was done. I didn't know who to talk to. There wasn't anybody online that I could talk on forums with or anything like that. And so I don't want kids to go through that. I had no place for a source of just method or what it took or what it takes. So yeah, I try to help every single person I can. I let them, I let a young artist live in my house for a week during Denver Comic Con because he'd never been to a con and he doesn't know how to start. I remember in San Diego one night, I had no place to stay. I just walked around all night and then went to the con the next day. And the wharf. I don't want people. Finally, Xander came and let me sleep on his hotel room floor the next night, and it was heaven. Like a dog and a dead raccoon. It's just like, oh God, this is great. This floor. I just don't want to see kids have to go through that. So, I help them out when I can. Not all are receptive, and sometimes the ones that are receptive don't have the ability, So, but you do get those diamonds in the rough, and yeah, I always try.
Cool.
Always, I'll give anybody my time that gives me theirs, respectfully. So
is that the kind of advice you would give to someone you want to get in the industry? Just work hard and keep pushing at it?
Quit whining and work harder, because you meet a lot of young guys and they make excuses for themselves. Oh, well, I talked to this one guy who fell, blah, 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 and they have all these long-winded stories. You either suck or you don't. Find the people that don't and figure out why you're not as good as them. Doesn't mean you have to draw like them, but why when Adam Hughes draws a woman, people oogle at it, and when I draw a woman, people throw up in their mouth. You gotta find out why. It's not magic. Nobody just has this magical ability. There's people with innate skill. I brought up Sean Murphy earlier. That guy's just a prodigy. But he also works long, crazy hours. He isn't lazy. And that's the key, is burn that laziness off. I work at least 10 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I'm still late on my work. So, I mean, you gotta know that this is what you want to do, because you're not going to get rich. Yeah, there's a couple guys that win the lottery, but you can't plan on winning the lottery. You got to do this job, because when, like I always tell people, if you don't go to bed thinking about the comic you just drew or page, and you wake up and the first thing you're not thinking about it, this is not the job for you. It's just like being a professional musician or anything like that. You gotta live and breathe it for decades before. I've been doing this for a very long time now, and it's just now I have a very nice solid following to where my books sell themselves. Now I don't have to just go hustle all the time. And it's hard to teach young kids, especially nowadays with everything's instant, that skill is not instant. It literally takes about 10 years to get good. That doesn't mean you can't get jobs before those 10 years are over. It just means before you get to a level where other artists are noticing your stuff and your work is selling itself without you doing a song and dance or desperately taking a job that fell through for like somebody else bailed on, you got to do those things, but no, that's all you're going to get for a very long time. It takes a long time, you know, unless you're a prodigy and you land on, you're happy doing X-Men or Spider-Man, which I'm not, but some people are, and that more power to them. You can get a huge fan base in just a year that way, but you also sold your soul. You know, you're drawing Spider-Man for a living, so So again, obviously, it's my opinion. I'm just joking. But so yeah, I drew Spider-Man too. So
that's his favorite character.
I'm just using him as I'm using him as an example.
I enjoy the character. I can't speak about anyone selling their soul.
I'll use Aquaman equally.
That we can relate to.
I'm just saying, like, when you're working with these high-level licensed characters, some people, you know, I worked hard and I got Batman like just a few years in, and I just found myself miserable. I was working with these people that just did not care about their job. And it was the same at Marvel when I did Spider-Man. I had Carl Potts ink one of my Spider-Man books, I swear, with a Sharpie. You know, he doesn't care. He just wanted a paycheck.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just threw away everything, you know. Then I was done. And I've turned down every single X-Men, Avengers job, everything I've ever been offered since. You can ask more questions. I'm long-winded. I'm not overtly trying to offend people. To each their own. Some people are perfectly happy. I have friends that are perfectly happy doing the monthly comic book. But I'm not into that because to me it's all flash in the pan stuff. They're just barely keeping your attention every month. And nothing happens. 20 issues, nothing happens. Why? Because Marvel and DC now are keepers of the brand. They're not allowed to change the brand. No one can evolve. No one can be happy, sad, anything. They just stand there with dour expressions on their face, and everybody starts punching. That's the superhero comic book, and there is nothing wrong with that. If you like entertaining middle-aged fat men, then you're more power to you. But you're not fat. But that's not what I'm going for. I'm trying to do stories that sit on a shelf. 10 years from now, I want Blue Yonder still on the shelf, sitting next to Watchmen. And to do that, I knew I had to surround myself with just a couple assassins that I trust, and they trust me, and we just get together and we grind it out one series a year, you know, and then the one series leads to the next series, et cetera, you know, and there we go. But now you know why I don't work for the big two any longer. I've been a shill, man. I've cashed checks from them. So
I gotta say that I appreciate your honesty.
yeah, please know I'm not trying to insult anyone.
No. I mean, as a fan, you know, it's great because you see so many people, so many kids who strive to become these things, and it takes a lot out of you.
It does.
And
It does.
it might not be worth it, but if you do your own thing like you're doing, you know, you say, fuck it, you know, it could work out for you, you know, and it's much better than saying, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to draw Spider-Man.
There's nothing wrong with
If
it.
you're not happy with